The pretrial conference for the Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment opens with some friction as a House prosecution panel accuses the defense of leaning on technicalities and mere denials. But the Senate, sitting as an impeachment court, may still have its own unfinished business. Former Senator President Frank Drilon warns the chamber could face another shakeup amid deep political divides. And amid the political tremors, could another senator be forced into hiding? Claims surface of an ICC arrest warrant against Senator Bongo, but the Justice Department says it has not received any official notice. And from political issues to maritime disputes, a second arbitration case against China is now being pushed over Beijing's continued activities in the West Philippine Sea. And Coast Guard spokesperson Rear Admiral Jay Tariela joins us live to discuss. The House prosecution panel and the defense team of Vice President Sara Duterte met for a pre-trial conference at the Senate today. And for details, we talked to our mobile journalist, Merimon Reyes. Merimon, anong napag-usapan sa pre-trial conference? At marami ba kayo nakuha kahit ang media ay hindi pinag-cover?
Lured, according kay Attorney Michael Powa kanina, though closed-door meeting kasi ito, so medyo parang breadcrumbs lang yung nakukuha natin sa kung ano lang yung masasabi ng House Prosecution Panel or ng defense team ni VP Sara Duterte. Pero ang natakal na raw nila ay yung stipulations, kung saan yung comments daw nila, which is a good thing, ay isusulat na lang daw nila at ipapadala, especially sa Clerk of Courts na si Attorney Ray Bantug. Bukod dyan, naging productive naman daw, lalong-lalo na pagdating sa pag-aayos ng evidence, ng testimonies. Ang medyo kumakain lang daw ng oras talaga ay yung marking na ng ebidensya. Kasi yung huli nating nakuha from both parties, lagpas 50 pages yung pinadala nila na pre-trial briefs. So ganun karami raw at hindi naman talaga madali or mabilis na matapos ito. Pero optimistic daw sila na if not today, hindi kasi nila ito natapos, by Monday next week, ina-anticipate nila or if kukulangin pa raw ng oras until Tuesday. Pero ang gusto naman daw nilang mangyari as far as them on the defense is concerned, mapabilis na raw itong pre-trial para they could focus on preparing for the impeachment trial proper. It's still set on July 6. Lord.
Okay, nag-press conference ang prosecution at ang term na ginamit ay tunog lata daw ang pagkalatag ng defense. O, tunog lata, ibig sabihin man to, walang laman, empty.
Lord, ang sabi dyan ni Attorney Powa, hindi raw nila alam kung saan nanggagaling yung sinasabing ganyan na wala raw preparation, hindi raw handa, wala raw timbang o bigat yung kanilang tugon doon sa articles of impeachment. When matter of fact, sinasabi nila, yung ibang kino-contest pa nga dito, normal lang naman daw magkaroon ng tension, pero they are prepared. And lahat naman daw ng inihahanda nila, including yung mga plano nilang ipatawag din as witnesses or yung mga tetestigo sa salang nila sa trial proper, lahat naman daw yung pinaghahandaan nila. Plus, hindi naman daw nawawala yung communication nila with Vice President Sara Duterte tungkol sa lahat ng mga nangyayari. And ito naman daw yung sinasabi nila na hindi naman daw nila tinakasan, sumagot daw sila dito, and they are participating according to the due process, and they are still looking forward na maging ready na sila sa kung ano ang mangyayari sa trial proper. Kanina nga lang kasi sa pangungulit natin from both Attorney Powa and sa mga kongresista, kanila Congressman Chel Jokno na nandoon, Jervy Luistro, pare-pareho kasi talaga silang tikom ang bibig sa kung ano yung pwede nilang sabihin talaga sa loob ng pre-trial conference nila kanina. Lord.
May mga nag-argue na dapat daw buksan sa media, lalong-lalo na for transparency, no? Para malinaw. Pero ano ba ang kwento, Merimon? Meron bang, sa tingin mo, very sensitive na information kapag sinulat o nilabas sa media ng mga impormasyon? Ang skills nila sa pagtatanong, sa mga legal issues, etc.
Lord, ang sabi kasi dito ni Attorney Powa, kahit naman daw sa normal na cases, hindi naman daw bago na magkakaroon ng ng tension or ng heated the moments, lalo na when it comes to questioning technicalities or yung legalities. Kasi ang ginagawa sa pre-trial, pinasisimple din nila yung pagkakalatag or paglalatag nila ng lahat, from the testimonies to the evidence to the witnesses or kung sakali supporting documentary evidences. And doon sila nagkaroon ng ilang heated moments with their counterparts sa House prosecution panel. And ang it's more on the administrative side kasi itong pre-trial according to Senate President Sherwin Gatchalian, kaya closed door meeting din siya. And ganito rin naman daw yung ginagawa even sa mga regional trial courts, sa mga ordinaryong mga kaso. So wala naman daw difference. Yun nga lang, itong sa case na to, iba rin naman yung timbang kasi ng impeachment. Yun nga lang, may stark reactions din tayong nakita from the congressmen and from the defense team kanina. Kasi ang opportunity lang na makausap natin sila or try na makakuha ng info ay during their break times. And to note, meron silang kanya-kanyang holding rooms kung saan pwede silang magpahinga muna, mag-lunch break sila, and ayusin ulit kung ano yung isasalang nila pag nagpatuloy yung pre-trial conference. Let's listen into some of the reactions that we got earlier.
Normal naman na syempre may arguments on both sides, pero hindi naman natin masasabing tension na talaga yon. Wala namang personalan yan, trabaho lang. In fact, nag-uusap pa nga kami ng prosecution. Diba? So, wala naman po tayo naging nakitang problema.
Ayun, wala rin palang nakitang problema. Pero may reaction ba ang either side, sa prosecution or sa defense, doon sa balita na si Senator Chis Escudero ang magpe-preside sa impeachment trial?
Well, hindi pa kasi set on stone ito according to members of the majority bloc. Even kanina sabi ni SP Gatchalian, lahat daw yan pag-uusapan pa nila. And magiging finalized yan kapag nag-convene na sila as an impeachment court. Plus, yung lumulutang din na si Senator Kiko Pangilinan daw itatalaga naman as impeachment manager according to Senator Ping Lacson. While walang naging reaction pa so far from the defense team, ang nasabi naman kanina ni trial spokesperson Representative Zia Alonto Adyong, nirerespeto raw nila ito. And ang gusto lang naman daw nila dito ay yung speedy and impartial na trial para raw masagot na raw lahat ng tanong na at yung curiosities daw ng taong bayan, plus para rin daw mabigyan na ng verdict itong impeachment. And if it's within the discretions daw of the Senate, lalo na kung magkakaroon daw ng amendment sa rules tungkol dito, sa kung sino ang magsisilbi as presiding officer, magko-comply naman daw ang House tungkol dyan. Lord.
Okay, balikan ko lang yung sino ang mga umupong mga senador kanina doon sa conference?
Wala, Lourdes. Ano siya, clerk of court lang yun na doon. So si Attorney Ray Bantug lang ang nakita natin. Plus yung ibang staff, and then congressmen from the House Prosecution Panel, and sila Attorney Michael Powa on the defense side. So far, ang nakita lang nating senador kanina is si SP Gatchalian na nag-hold ng sarili niya, ng hiwalay na press conference. Pero hindi natin na siya nakita kung pumasok man siya or nag-take part siya doon. Pero ang malinaw, clerk of court ang nakaupo sa gitna nitong pre-trial conference.
Okay, so nabanggit mo, possibly hanggang Tuesday mangyayari itong pre-trial conference.
Oo, kasi hindi pa raw, mabigat kasi, lalo na yung dami raw ng nilalaman na kailangang ilatag from both the House tsaka daw sa kanila sa defense, hindi raw talaga mabilis yung ganito. Even nung tinatanong natin kung ilang percent na ba sila na accomplished, wala ring mabigay na numero itong si Attorney Powa. Pero ang nilinaw naman nila so far, napapag-usapan na rin daw kanina yung timeline, yung hopefully na magiging seamless daw na presentation ng evidence ng witnesses at yung exhibit. Dito kasi kaya nagkakaroon ng marking of evidence, inoorganisa na rin kung paano ipapakita or ipepresent lahat. Kumbaga para raw hindi magulo. And so far, productive naman sila sa part na yan, pero kapos pa sa time today. So they're anticipating Monday next week pagpapatuloy ito, and kung kakapusin pa, pwedeng until
Oo. Merrimon?
pa ng point of contests between the two parties. Lloyd.
Merrimon, okay. May reaksyon ni Senator Bongo tungkol doon sa nag-surface na report na meron raw ICC warrant para sa kanya?
Lord, sabi dito ni Senator Bongo, ipagpapasa Diyos niya na lang daw yaan. Kasi yung police matters, never daw yun naging part ng kanyang mandato at pinagdarasal niya na lang daw na hindi mapupolitika yung issue hinggil doon sa sinasabing warrant laban sa kanya ng International Criminal Court. Pero ang binibigay na assurance si Senator Bongo, tuloy daw siya sa kanyang pagsaserbisyo at pagtatrabaho. Lord.
Mhm. Okay. Another topic, Mary Mon. So, official na in-announce ni new Senate President Win Gatchalian na hindi magpa-participate si Senator Jinggoy Estrada because suspended.
And dito papasok yung concern ng ilang senador from the majority bloc, particularly Senator Ping Lacson, na paano raw kung yung sinasabing may 10 senador na pwedeng madehado o kaya naman ma-constrict yung kanilang participation bilang senator judge. Pero ang sinasabi naman dito ni SP Gatchalian, mahirap daw magsalita muna hangga't hindi pa nangyayari ito. That includes kung, for example, sa case si Senator Bongo, kung may arrest warrant daw ba talaga, wala pa. So yung sinasabing kung hihingi ba ng tulong, magtatago ba o magpapatulong ba under Senate Protective Custody itong senador o mga senador na pwedeng madawit, wala pang sinasabi ang liderato. Pero iba raw kasi yung usapan ng pagbibilang ng majority pagdating sa quorum and yung bilangan daw ng senador para sa pagko-convict or pag-i-impeach. And those are two separate things pero lahat daw ng mga yan ay kailangan pag-usapan pa nila. Kaya plano rin ni SP Sherwin, bago rin mag-impeachment trial by July, magpapatawag daw ng All Senators Caucus.
Ito naman, si Senator Ping Lacson ay may pinost sa Twitter, dating Twitter, ngayon ay X. Sabi niya, the Philippine Senate in 28 days under Alan Peter Cayetano, estimated cost 700 million. Output, chaos. Gunfire. Batos escaped despite ICC issued warrants while under its protective custody. Session boycott, failed destabilization attempt on authorities committee hearings highlighted by one not presided nor attended by a single senator. What a waste of taxpayers' money. Yon ang konklusyon. May mga nag-react ba rito, Mary Mon?
Kanina, Lord, si SP Gatchalian, kinonfirm niya rin ito on the affirmative daw. Kasi per day, around 2,000 Senate staff or personnel plus yung facilities, 25 billion pesos daw talaga papatak yung gastusin bawat araw. So, ang ipinapangako naman ngayon ni SP, yung unang Senate Flix daw, bagong season na raw ito na raw yung back to work season. Kumbaga they'll be making up for the lost time, for the delayed work sa Senate at inaanyayahan niya rin lahat ng mga senador, especially yung mga may committee chairmanship na mag-organisa na raw at magsimula na rin ang kanilang committee hearings. Pero on the part of former SP Alan Peter Cayetano, he actually lambasted the alleged he called an intellectual dishonesty doon sa claim na sayang daw yung 700 million pesos dahil kahit sino pa raw ang SP, 25 million pesos per day daw talaga ang nagiging gastusin para sa operations ng Senado. And inaccuse din naman ni Cayetano yung Gatchalian block na during the time na yung liderato ni Cayetano ang nakaupo or ang namumunuan pa, ayaw daw magtrabaho ng Gatchalian block kasi hindi ito nag-elect ng kanilang members sa committee chairman or sa kanya-kanyang committee during Cayetano's leadership. So, nagparinig pa siya nga pagtungkol naman doon sa paggamit niya ng live streaming online na even yung ibang mga senador din naman, sina Senator Erwin Tulfo, Senator Raffy Tulfo, ganun din naman daw, gumagamit din naman online. So, what's the difference daw, Lord?
Mhm. Okay. Nagbigay ng reaksyon si dating Senate President Franklin Drilon sa nangyayaring patuloy na tensyon sa Senado. Ang konklusyon ba ng sinabi niya, Mary Mon, ay hindi pa tapos ang lahat ng to?
Tama, Lord. Ang sinasabi ni former Senator Drilon, yung Senate power struggle, it is far from over, especially habang nalalapit ang impeachment trial ngayong July, plus yung tinitingnan pa na pwedeng shifting sa political landscape from the 2028 elections. And described niya yung current Senate as the most unstable daw in the restoration of democracy in since the restoration of democracy in 1986. At ini-stress din ni former Senator Drilon na yung political infighting magpapatuloy pa raw ito due to the impeachment case plus yung nalalapit ng national elections. The control of the Senate will play a critical role in both the trial and the political landscape leading to 2028 at in-urge niya si Senator Gatchalian to expand the majority by gaining the support of one or two more senators. Let's listen in to a part of what Senator Drilon has to say.
Yes, there will be a continued struggle to grab power for purposes of the impeachment trial and the 2028 election. It's one or two of the ones in the minority today should transfer to the majority to provide better stability, especially that we are going to have an impeachment trial. Kung wala pong stability and Senate leadership, the impeachment trial can be very difficult.
Ayun. Alright, so maraming salamat sa ating mobile journalist, Merrimon Reyes. Thank you, Merrimon. Alright, still more developments ahead. Political Beat will be right back. A Chinese floating platform inside Baho de Masinloc has now been removed, but questions remain about China's other activities in the area. And what should the Philippines do? Joining us to discuss this and more is Philippine Coast Guard spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Rear Admiral J. Tariela. Sir, welcome to Political Beat. Thank you for visiting us, sir.
Thank you for having me, sir. No? Dati napapanood lang kita sa mga dokumentaryong
Nako,
ginawa mo, sir, tungkol sa pag-asa.
Nako, sir.
And that was like 12 years ago, 2015.
Biruin mo yun, sir, ano? Ibang-iba na nga raw ngayon yung area, ano? Pero binabati natin yung mga Marines na nakastasyon dyan. Sir Jay, okay. Unahin ko muna yung nangyayari sa Senate. Ito bang mga to, yung pag-shift ng mga nasa minority to majority, then back to the minority again? Lalo na yung mga nasa current minority, yung ilang mga senador doon ay very, sabihin natin, vocal about their position, no, on the West Philippine Sea. May ginamit na medyo malupit na term ang ating kaibigang si Ronald Llamas. It starts with T and ends with an R. Huwag na natin banggitin kasi baka mag-react pa. Pero sir, kayo ba, do you observe with bated breath pag sa mga shifting ng mga ganito?
Alam mo, para sa akin, sir, no, let me first clarify.
Yes, sir.
Yung mga nasa majority ngayon, yung new majority, to include the Senate President, Senator Win Gatchalian, isa ito sa mga senador na pumunta na sa Pag-asa. Nung nanawagan tayo na more senators are needed to visit Pag-asa for them to see themselves kung ano ang sitwasyon sa Pag-asa. So we have Senator Win Gatchalian, Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Kiko, and Senator Erwin Tulfo. So makikita natin where does the members of the majority now stand when it comes to the issue of the West Philippine Sea. Ayoko na magdetalye pagdating sa minority ngayon dahil we know some of these people, no, especially nung Enero, nung nagkaroon ng resolution about dun sa caricature na nagawa ko daw, no? And basically, alam na natin kung saan sila tumitindig pagdating sa issue ng West Philippine Sea. So going back to your question, is it really something that concerns me? Para sa akin, it is concerning not just for me, but for everybody. Lalo na sa mga kababayan natin na mga mangingistang Pilipino, mga taga-Palawan, tinitingnan talaga kung sino ang mayorya pagdating sa Senado.
Lalo na yung naging 28-day Senate President ay vocal din ang position niya, no? At alam natin na hindi tumitindig na tulad ng sa inyo. Matanong ko, sir, may campaign kayo sa yung information drive, basically, no? Yung awareness ng mga Pilipino sa West Philippine Sea. Mula ba sa mga nakaraang buwan na to, Sir Jay, ay may improvement na sa inyong paningin?
Alam mo sir, ang transparency effort of the National Task Force for the West Philippine Sea goes back as early as 2023. So kung babalikan natin ang 2023, even during your time sir, no? Nung 2015, kahit nung panahon ni Pangulong Noynoy Aquino, parang hindi pa masyadong nagre-resonate sa mga Pilipino ang acronym na WPS. When we started the transparency effort ng 2023, meron ako mga university engagement in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Malulungkot ka din kasi not everybody understands kung ano ang WPS. But 3 years after, ngayong taon na to, 2026, of course, sa pag-aproba ng ating Pangulo na magkaroon ng transparent, more engagement sa ating mga kababayang Pilipino para maging aware pagdating sa issue ng West Philippine Sea. Masasabi natin, Filipinos now are more aware. Alam na nila kung ano ay pinaglalaban natin, bakit natin ito kailangan tindigan, hindi lamang utang natin ito sa mga bayaning Pilipino, but more importantly, obligasyon natin to para sa susunod na saling lahi ng Pilipino.
Isipin ko lang, sir, kung magde-devil's advocate lang ako for a bit, ano. Pero kung isipin natin, ano ang mga nasa psikolohiya nung mga ang tindig ay sabihin natin hindi para sa
West
bayan,
Philippine Sea.
as it were, no, lumalabas. Pero meron silang, nagagawa nila ng rasyonal na sarili na bar. Meron bang, nakaka-relate o may naiintindihan ka ba na sabihin natin na may kahit spark lang ng praktikalidad ba o idealismo o ano ba ito o real politic kumbaga sa tindig nila?
Alam mo, para sa akin, Sir Lord, no? Siguro, in terms of practicality, ang maiintindihan mo, yung mga Pilipinong napaniwala nung nakaraang administrasyon na, una, wala tayong magagawa. Secondly, kapag tumindig tayo sa West Philippine Sea, magkakagera. So, anybody na mayroong anak, mayroong pamilya, of course, kung yan ang sinasabi ng presidente mo, you'll be really afraid, no? Matatakot ka, and that's understandable. And in practical sense, mapapaniwala ka dahil imagine, presidente ng Pilipinas ang nagsasabi, kapag tumindig tayo sa West Philippine Sea, kawawa tayong lahat. In a matter of days, masasakop tayo. Unfortunately, para sa akin, kung simula 2022, nang bumaba si Pangulong Duterte, at sa mahigit 4 na taon na tinitindigan ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos ang ating pakikipaglaban sa West Philippine Sea. Pero paulit-ulit ka pa rin na sinasabi mong sasakupin tayo ng China, yan ay yung hindi ko magets. Parang you run out of common sense. Dahil kung ang sabi ni President Duterte, sasakupin tayo ng China, 4 na taon na nga natin tinitindigan to, hindi pa naman nagkakagera, right? So, on a practical sense, maintindihan mo sila, but disappointingly, parang hindi mo na rin magets kung ano yung common sense nila.
Okay. Tuloy pa rin ba yung mga death threat laban sa inyo, sir?
Yes, parang kahit nga sa social media comments, no, na parang I just get used to it, na parang siguro naman, itong mga death threats na to, wala naman talagang katotohanan kasi hanggang ngayon naman, wala pa naman nang aambush sa akin, ng tutukhang, no? So, para sa akin, mga ano lang yan, mga empty threats lang talaga.
Hello pala sa mga trolls. O, sigurado ako, sumusunod sila sa iyo, sir. Lahat ng appearances mo ay sumusunod sila. Okay, sir, itong na-confirm na ninyo na na-remove na, no? Mula doon sa ating katubigan, itong floating platform supposedly for marine research activities. Pero may naiwan ka mo, no? At may natagpuan na naman, ito lang, bagong-bago, na may barko na naman nakita sa loob, sir, itong Tongji ba ito? Tongji, no? How concerned should we be? Parang napapadala sa ating research activities nila, sir, sa area na yun.
Alam mo, para sa akin, sir, no, ang pagpasok ng 2026, ang isa na sa ginagawang approach ng China for them to justify their illegal presence sa West Philippine Sea is to hide their real intention at sabihin na, hindi, para sa science to, no?
Hindi naman nagsishare.
For marine scientific research. Well, una sa lahat, no? Lagi nating tinatawag na that's an illegal MSR. Illegal dahil ang Baho de Masinloc, for example, falls within our own exclusive economic zone. No? Ito ay may layo lamang na 119 nautical miles mula sa Zambales. Ibig sabihin, kapag exclusive economic zone mo, you're entitled for your sovereign rights. And that means, as a coastal state, we have the rights to explore and exploit. Ibig sabihin, exploration, that means marine scientific research. Kung ang China, ang layo mo dyan ay more than 500 nautical miles, wala kang kinalaman dyan. No? You do not have any single authority to say that what you're doing is an MSR. So I always highlight that this MSR is illegal because we never permitted them, we never asked for their help. Kahit pa sabihin nilang sila nang may pinaka-advanced na science sa buong mundo, it doesn't still justify their illegal presence in Baho de Masinloc.
Pero sir, sa findings ba ninyo, talaga bang marine research for the sake of science ba talaga yung intensyon ng mga to?
Alam mo, ang challenge ko nga dyan, Sir Lord, kasi 2 days ago, in-announce ng Chinese Embassy, mission complete. Tapos na daw ang kanilang marine scientific research. No? Kung talagang marine scientific research to, they should publicize the data that they gathered, the significant information na natutunan nila dito sa illegal MSR na ginawa nila, and share it to the world, no? Na walang itinatago, walang piniling informasyon, for the world to really understand na ang ginawa nila is in good faith. Well, of course, bad faith pa rin dahil illegal nga.
Okay. Sir, your thoughts on ex-Justice Carpio's suggestion of filing a second arbitral case against China?
Alam naman natin, sir, no? In terms of being a legal luminary as Justice Carpio is, talagang siya na ang ating hinahangaan pagdating sa issue ng international law, UNCLOS. At ang lagi niya sinasabi, we need to file another arbitration case. We need to hold China accountable in the eyes of the international law. No? And nabanggit na rin sa mga ibang engagement ni Attorney J. Batong Bakal na meron na tayong mga pag-uusap among the government agencies. On the part of the Philippine Coast Guard, we are in the West Philippine Sea. We document, we provide evidence of all the things that are happening in the West Philippine Sea. So sa amin, we can provide the evidence that we gathered. And if it's really the intention of the national government, whether it's pushed by the Solicitor General, the Department of Justice, or even the Department of Foreign Affairs, ang Philippine Coast Guard sa pamumuno ni Admiral Gaban, we will support it. Kung ano man ang magiging desisyon ni Pangulong Marcos, ang Philippine Coast Guard will always be supportive kung ano man magiging hakbang nila sa West Philippines.
Pero kayo ba, sir, nakabili na kayo ng mas malaking water cannon as suggested by...
Senator Robin Padilla.
Okay, sir, ito bigla naman, ang China, ang sabi naman din, still with Justice Carpio, suggestion na pag in-implement daw itong UN High Seas Treaty, tapos we stand to lose our economic zone daw if we do not push back or protest China's declaration on the BBNJ, biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction. Ito ba yung mga nakikita natin mga research ay bahagi noon kunyari?
Well, una sa lahat, sir, I think I won't comment on this dahil nagkaroon ng mainit na palitan ng komento ang Department of Foreign Affairs at ang si Justice Carpio. And me being part of the government, ayoko na rin maging parte ng argumento na to. But either way, I think Justice Carpio definitely is also, he has his own reason. And he is pushing for a national interest as always. And the same thing, pagdating naman sa Department of Foreign Affairs, there must be another side of the coin na they see fit. So, para sa akin, I'll just keep my limited understanding pagdating sa BBNJ. Ano rin ako, Sir Lord, wala akong legal background. Baka tanungin ako ni Senator Marcoleta.
Okay. Sir, yung monitoring po ninyo ng mga hanggang ngayon ba tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung mga construction activities sila? Meron bang sabihin natin na tinatayo na hindi natin alam?
Yan, sir, ang pinag-uubusan ng resources ng Philippine Coast Guard, ng Armed Forces of the Philippines, and the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. In those instances na meron tayong mamamataan na infrastruktura or bagay na naitayo, hindi lamang sa Bajo de Masinloc, but in the entire Calayan Island Group, ito ay pinupuntahan natin. And this is what happened in Bajo de Masinloc. No? When we saw this floating platform, araw-araw niliparan ng Coast Guard aircraft, ng Armed Forces, and the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. And as we speak right now, wala tayong nakikita pang mga itinatayo or kinukonstruct na malapit sa ating mga occupied maritime features sa kabuuan ng West Philippines.
Speaking of, ito mabilis lang na ako, sir. Yung offer nyo ba doon kay Senator Marcoleta still stands?
Yes. Excited pa rin ako na makasama si Senator Marcoleta na lumipad sa Pag-asa Island.
Sa tingin mo ba, paano mababago ng flight na yon, if ever, ang kanyang opinion?
Alam mo, Sir Lord, alam ko nagpunta ka na ng Pag-asa. Nakita mo ang isang komunidad doon. May bata, may pamilya, at the same time, you also experience having an airplane ride na challenge ka ng Chinese Maritime Forces. Kung ikaw Pilipino, kahit kaduda-duda pa ang posisyon mo pagdating sa issue ng West Philippine Sea, pag tumuntong ka sa Pag-asa at sinalubong ka ng kabataang Pilipino doon, hindi ko na alam kung ano pang mararamdaman mo kung hindi talaga kukurot sa puso mo yun at sasabihin mong kawawa ang Pilipino rito.
Alam mo, sir, yung flag ceremony, yun ang medyo ano sa akin.
Di ba, sir?
Sa umaga.
And secondly, sir, try to imagine yourself, no? Lumilipad ka sa karagatan ng Pilipinas at i-challenge ka ng banyagang China para sabihin hindi mo na teritoryo yan. Kung hindi ka maka-Pilipino or hindi mo naiintindihan ang kasaysayan mo, I don't think na masasabi mong, di ba, parang baliwala lang yan, ipamigay na lang natin ang Calayan Island.
Okay. Sir, may mga nagtatanong kung bakit daw, parang medyo nabawasan itong mga violenting insidente, yung mga banggaan, mga kisis, mga putulan ng mga daliri, na mga aksidente, mga ganyan. Ano raw ba ang nasa likod nito? Ito ba'y dahil pumapalag tayo?
Well, una sila, Sir Lord, no? Ang unang tanong dyan dati, when we started the transparency effort ng 2023, we saw significant changes ng Chinese government. So we thought, siguro totoo nga, no, na China is concerned about reputational damage because there were some calibration of their actions. Nahinto din yung mga harassment na yan. And then 2024, we saw a different China. Mas agresibo, mas tumindi ang water cannoning, and then 2025, tuloy-tuloy ito. And the last recorded incident na nadokumento natin was December 2025 when Filipino fishermen went to Skoda at sila mismo ang tinamaan ng water cannon. Tapos nawala na. From January until this month, wala na tayong nabalitaan na water cannoning. Ngayon, going back to your question, sir, what changed, no? Ako para sa akin, sir, naniniwala ako, we can explain this in two different ways. Una, siguro China understood na kapag ipinakita natin yung kawalang hiyaan nila sa West Philippine Sea, it really damages their reputational damage, their reputation as a member of the international community. No? Secondly, iniisip ng China siguro that the silver bullet to counter transparency of the Philippine government is just to ignore kung ano man ang ginagawa ng Pilipinas. Whether mga isda, Philippine Coast Guard, BFAR. And that explains kung bakit walang insidente. Ngayon, does it mean we are on a disadvantaged position dahil China already knows how to get away with the transparency? Of course not. the mere fact that China no longer water cannon our Filipino fishermen, ibig sabihin, mas naging mapayapa ang buhay ng mga Pilipino. No? They can go there in different parts of Calayan Island Group and makakapangisda sila. Secondly, kapag sinabi naman, hindi, kaya ginagawa ng China yan kasi alam nila na yung scripted na deployment ni Tariela, may solusyon na sila. But still, kung hindi mo gagawin yan, edi you will legitimize yung presensya natin. A case in point, yung ginawa ng atin ito. Maraming mga journalista, media personalities na sumama sa atin ito. At ang tanong nila, bakit nung pumunta si Lovely sa Pag-asa K2 kasama si Congresswoman Dada ng Akbayan, ay hindi sila water cannon? Siguro, China nga already understood na wag mong i-water cannon, hayaan mo lang sila.
Mas iingay.
Hindi iingay kung hindi mo sila i-water cannon. Kumbaga, walang may babalita. No? So, mga media, yan yung unang tinanong, ba't hindi sila pinatulan ng China? So, they were thinking like, they already know how to counter transparency. However, ang hindi natin ang nakalimutan natin dito sa scenario na to is that kung pinapabayaan nila tayong gawin ng ganun, di gawin lang natin linggo-linggo. Ibig sabihin, it legitimized our actions sa mga ginagawa natin na to. And it undermines their illegal claim in different parts of the West Philippine Sea.
So akala nila stealth yung style na, sige lang, at least tayo pa rin yung may brute force dito
Yes.
na let the little kids play. Pero papasok na ba si ano? Sorry, hindi ba? Sorry. Okay, interesting to sa sinabi mo, no? Pero sir, kahit papano ay sinasabi pa rin na mahalaga pa rin itong mga protesta.
Yes.
Kasi nalalagay on record eh. At sa kasaysayan, pag binalikan mo, makikita mo gaano karami na at least pumalag tayo diplomatically. So, nag-work yung diplomatic protest against that last floating platform. Sa tingin po ninyo?
Well, para sa akin, I'm a believer of the importance of the diplomatic protest ng Department of Foreign Affairs. Lagi nating isinasagot sa interview yan, that the diplomatic action na pamumuno ni Secretary Tess Lazaro is very significant in our fight for the West Philippine Sea. No? Kung ang tanong natin, kahit i-deny pa ng China, no, na diplomatic protest ba ang dahilan? Or yung pagdadala ng media ba sa Baho de Masinloc ang dahilan? Or ang pag-expose ng kabalian ng China sa West Philippine Sea ang dahilan? We can all speculate. No? But the mere fact that the Chinese government disassembled the platform and immediately leave Baho de Masinloc, para sa akin, combining all these strategies that we did in the past days are very significant for China to decide na itigil na nila kung ano man yung illegal MSR na ginagawa nila sa Baho de Masinloc.
What's the most emotionally difficult incident that you've had to explain to the Filipino public, sir?
Alam mo, para sa akin, sir, ang pinaka nalulungkot ako na mga insidente sa West Philippine Sea, kahit pa sabihin nating troll show nagko-comment or mga pro-China influencer, yung ang mga isda water cannon or ang mga isda hinarang, whether in Baho de Masinloc or in Calayan Island Group, tapos ang sasabihin ng mga pro-China influencer, ano yan scripted. Ibinuyo natin ang mga isdang Pilipino for them to go there. Parang hindi ko magets yan eh. Pag tinitigan mo yung video, pinanood mo, na yung mga isdang Pilipino, halos makipagpatayan na para hindi sila mapaalis doon. Tapos magko-comment ka ng ganyan sa social media, yung ibang pro-China influencer ipopost pa sa social media nila. Parang yan yung nakakagalit, na nakakalungkot, na parang gusto mong tanungin, Pilipino ka ba talaga?
Patriotism my ass eh. So pag hinarap mo naman, pagdating naman sa tinatanong mo ng di ba, sa argumento, ang isasagot sa iyo ay, ano mas mahirap i-navigate, sir? Katupigan o public opinion or social media opinion?
Alam mo, para sa akin, sir, ang pinakamahirap na laban natin ngayon sa West Philippine Sea, is not actually the multiple vessels na nasa West Philippine Sea. Not even the platform na dinala nila sa Baho de Masinloc. No? Ang pinakamahirap na laban natin dito is the battle of narrative. Kasi sa barko, kahit pa sabihin mong gaano kadami yan, ang ating sandatahang lakas, ang ating Coast Guard, ang Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, despite of their limited number, maglalayag at maglalayag pa rin yan. No? But pagdating sa usapin ng naratibo or tamang informasyon, kahit alam natin na meron tayong tamang informasyon, may ingay pa rin ang mga pro-China trolls. And unfortunately, whether these are soulless trolls, paid trolls, or pro-China lang talaga, dahil napakinabangan nila sa kanilang political career, I really don't know what motivated them. Ang nakakalungkot dito, yung parang tipong they don't want to hear reasons anymore. Nawala na yung logic. Na pati yung mga followers nila, mga sympathizers nila, at yung mga fanatics sa kanila, naniniwala na rin. So, ang pinakamahirap ngayon is the battle of narrative. The disinformation na nagiging dahilan para hindi tayo magkaisa bilang Pilipino.
If social media were to disappear tomorrow, would we have a stronger or weaker assertion to our maritime claims?
Ako tingin ko, sir, if social media will be gone tomorrow, at ang pagbabasihan lang natin is mainstream media, mga reporters, mga journalista, periodiko, I don't think na mananalo pa ang disinformation pagdating sa laban natin sa West Philippines. Because I have very strong faith sa ating press and the media personalities. Hindi naman sila nagpapakalat ng misinformation. Hindi naman sila nagpapabayad para magsalita ng isang bagay. Our professional journalists always publish and narrate stories based on facts.
If budget were unlimited, what would you rather buy? 10 new ships, a satellite network, or the world's best maritime lawyers?
Parang napakahirap ng tanong na yan, sir, no? So, I just get to choose one, no? The first is 10
New ships.
new ships. Ito, malalaki na to, sir.
Siguro.
10 new ships, best lawyers,
Or
and
satellite network.
para sa akin, sir, we need to have maritime presence. So if you have 10 large ships, a sophisticated technological capability, it can do
Kaya.
everything. You know? Kahit pa meron kang best lawyers, kung wala ka namang barko to document and to prevent the other maritime forces in entering your maritime jurisdiction, wala kang magagawa. Even if you have the best satellite imagery ng lahat ng nangyayari dyan, if you cannot interdict or even intercept all those maritime forces coming from different parts of your archipelago, wala ka rin, there's no use.
Okay, sir. Sir Jay, pero last question. Suppose the the dispute vanished overnight. What would be the Philippine Coast Guard's next great mission or concern?
Para sa akin, ang the Philippine Coast Guard has a very diverse functions. From maritime safety, marine environmental protection, and maritime law enforcement. Kung ang issue ng West Philippine Sea ay tuluyan ng mawawala, I think our main concern really is more on marine environmental protection and maritime safety.
Nagiging issue rin ngayon yan. Paminsan-minsan, di ba, sir? Alright. Maraming salamat sa oras po ninyo. Philippine Coast Guard spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Rear Admiral J. Tariela. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, more developments ahead on Political Beat. We'll be right back. Tunog lata or rattling can. That's how the House Prosecution Panel describes the defense trial brief in the impeachment case against Vice President Sara Duterte. And to discuss this further, we have our Lanao del Sur 1st District Representative Zia Alonto Adyong, one of the spokespersons of the House Prosecution Panel. Magandang gabi po. Congressman, salamat po sa oras po ninyo. Sir, okay, sinabi success po ang pre-trial conference pero according to your accounts, may tension daw na nangyari pero ano po sa tingin ninyo in general ang naging ganap?
Well, yes, good evening po, Lord, and good evening to your viewers. Magandang
Thank you, sir.
gabi po at maraming salamat. Yes. Well, first and foremost, I'd like to say that, at least nga gumugulong na po itong issue ng impeachment. This is a positive development kasi nag-start na nga po yung pre-trial conference. Although I anticipate that there will be motions, no? Even the defense, I anticipate the defense would be would be part of the strategy would be erasing motions, no, on technicalities. So ina-anticipate na namin 'yon. Kaya nga po kung tatanungin mo ko what's actually the what happened, no, as to yung lumabas na nagkaroon daw ng disagreements, but this is just normal, no. I think this is a regular occurrence pagdating sa mga pre-trial conference wherein ang magharap talaga adversarial from the very start. So, what is important is that gumugulong na yung ating usapin sa impeachment, and hopefully by June 25, which is the last day of the pre-trial conference, and then the court will also issue pre-trial order that would signal the start, the next step would be the actual trial. So, we are glad na bumulong na yung sinasabi po nating accountability mechanism na ating saligang batas.
Pero may sinabi so supposedly sir parang ang brief daw ng defense, smoke screen at hindi raw flashlight. Kumbaga parang nag-create siya ng more confusion daw than providing answers, sir.
Yeah, kasi kung titingnan mo yung substance na we anticipate, this is their opportunity to provide answers to the people. Kasi ang tanong talaga dyan is saan napunta. May aligasyon na hindi napunta sa dapat puntahan, yung halimbawa utilization ng confidential funds. Paano i-explain halimbawa kung bakit wala yung SALN ng Vice Presidente ay hindi tugma doon sa mga natanggap natin na based on material evidence at saka mga testimonial evidence na hindi tugma doon sa mga income niya. That's why you have the unexplained wealth. Article sa unexplained wealth. Nandun din yung halimbawa yung kanyang pagtatreat sa ating Pangulo in bribery. So what the public expected for the longest time, kasi yun naman sinasabi nila, we will answer at the proper forum. Ito po yung proper forum. Hindi sila nag-supply ng substantive, contravening argument or evidence to belie or to disclaim or to argue and to even contest the allegations contained in the articles of impeachment. Hindi ho nila na-explain yun. So ang nakita lang ho natin doon ay the usual questions that they have been pounding since last year, no? Yung procedure, mini trial yung ginagawa ng Justice Committee. It's more on the procedural complaints, no? The question of constitutionality, which actually we have gone past through that stage. So kung babalikan po natin yung sinasabi nila that they are ready to face the trial, that they are ready to answer at the proper forum. We were surprised to a point of be frustrated kasi wala naman din silang sinupply na sagot, substantive answers in their pre-trial brief. So kaya masasabi ho natin talagang walang laman, no? Walang laman. We expect, ang taong bayan ay nag-expect na sana na bigyan nila ng kasagutan itong mga allegation na ito. This is the perfect opportunity for the defense to really to really provide answers to these questions and to allow, and also to provide the court a balancing measure for them to be able also to see na baka talaga meron talagang rason din na kaya ganito ang paggastos sa confidential funds. Baka naman din ito yung hindi naintindihan ng prosecution pero wala eh. So, well, talagang our expectation actually was not met. And so far yung answer na ibibigay dapat nila sa pre-trial brief nila.
Ibig sabihin, Congressman, hindi natin makikilala finally kung sino si Mary Grace Piatos.
Well, isa yun sa mga allegation natin. Sana makaprovide sila ng tao, di ba? Para ipabulaanan yung allegation na ito si Mary Grace Piatos ay tumanggap nitong certain amount na according sa acknowledgement receipt ay pinirmahan niya na parte doon sa confidential fund. Oo. And so if for example, they can able to provide. Kaya nga po meron tayong mga experts to testify doon sa mga specimen ng mga acknowledgement receipts na talagang itong taong to ay buhay at may records. Well, according to PSA, wala silang records, no?
Yeah,
So, yun nga yung gusto nating malaman eh. Yun ang mga eksakto na answers na gusto natin malaman. Na these are questions that remain to be answered up to this point. No, they were actually already informed a year ago na meron talagang impeachment process, even to a point where the Supreme Court decided because of the due process that was not according to the Supreme Court was not properly applied with, kaya sabi na unconstitutional. And I think that's already an indication for the defense to, if they have really answers to these questions, be able to collate this and present it to the impeachment court today. Pero wala eh.
And it says a lot about their strategy. Medyo maaamoy mo na. Oo, Congressman. Alright, so maraming salamat po sa oras ninyo and siguro in the next few days, hindi pa tapos ito, magpapasalamat po kami in advance sa oras po na ibibigay ninyo sa amin. Congressman, maraming salamat po, sir.
I will make myself available po sa iyo, Sir Lord. Just
Maraming
send that invitation.
Thank you, sir.
Maraming salamat po, mabuhay po ko. Thank you very much.
Mabuhay. Ayan, ang spokesperson po, isa sa mga spokesperson ng House Prosecution Panel, Zia Alonto Adyong. Alright. This is addressed to two senators from the current minority. Let us first address the first senator who was walking out of the session hall when she was politely asked yesterday by a reporter. That question was, will you now be supporting the new leadership? Now, there are some things to remember. A reporter's question is not a mosquito bite. It may be irritating, repetitive, or asked 5 long hours after lunch. On an empty stomach, perhaps, on your part. Or you may be late for a date, but it remains part of the strange arrangement called democracy. Madam Senator, when a journalist asks a question, the public is not only gauging your intelligence, it is also grading your respect for people. So you may be in a foul mood, but did the reporter deserve the sarcastic reply? Did she deserve the rude, rather impatient tone? She asked a perfectly irrelevant, non-stupid question. Sarcasm may be a delightful seasoning, but like bagoong, it is awful in copious amounts. We get it, you may still be upset as usual by the absence of comforting words in your usual chat group, but you've been senator for a long time, and you know how ambush interviews work. That reporter you snapped at, she was just doing her job, along with every other reporting, pestering you and other senators there with questions. The reporter was not the one who voted your brother out of the Senate presidency. If you think you deserve a moment of peace, if you think you won't be miss friendship to every human being in the next 300 meters, then find another way to exit the building. Ask your co-minority senators or your brother. After all, you're supposed to be the experts in the art of clandestine passage. Now to the second senator, who only 2 weeks ago accused the Senate press corps as being corrupt. He again laments that media does not sufficiently quote his answers. Now, a thing to remember that the news is not karaoke. The microphone is not obliged to stay pointed at any one singer simply because he thinks he hit the high notes. Every public official imagines he delivered the quote of the century. The reality is, most of the time, he won't even deliver the quote of the afternoon. Politicians often regard reporters as nuisances until the cameras disappear. Reporters, it's a dysfunctional marriage. A dysfunctional marriage sustained by deadlines, egos, and coffee. Yet it remains necessary because the alternative is what? Government speaking only to itself, which history has repeatedly proven to be a terrible audience. The Senate was once called the country's great debating chamber. But debate requires something more difficult than speaking. It requires listening, not merely to the applause and counsel of allies, but to inconvenient questions and unwelcome edits. If a reporter asks, answer. If your answer is not quoted, answer better. If you're still unhappy, go start your own newspaper or vlog or TV network. We saw your silence, you can very well afford it. And that's the political beat tonight. This Thursday, 18th of June. I'm Lourdes de Vera. Enjoy the rest of your evening.